Engineer's Life. Our buddy Nico from New Zealand is back. What can we do for you, young man?
Hello, I've just started engineering. Can you see me all right? I feel pretty, if I'm looking at the same screen as you, I'm pretty
Yeah,
white.
your light's pretty bad. You might want to flip around the other way. You need your ring light like all the influencers.
Yeah, well, yeah, just started engineering and yeah, it's pretty hardcore, but I feel pretty grounded now. There was a lot of indecision going on a few months ago. It was getting pulled by two different strings, engineering or not, and yeah, I haven't looked back much. I felt a lot of people here that think that we're just in the same boat as me, and it's been cool.
So just to refresh, you were finishing up school and trying to figure out what you wanted to do, and you had a couple of options. You were working in gymnastics. You had a mentor who did business who was interested in you going that path with them. And then your family was hardcore, including your brother, on let's go the engineering route and become an engineer. And you couldn't decide which route you wanted to take. So you took a lot of input and thoughts and whatnot from everybody. We did a couple of calls, including one with your brother. And so you ultimately decided to just, hey, I'll give engineering school a go. Now, are you also doing other stuff or fill us in? What are you up to now?
So I've got gymnastics in my training. So I do gymnastics as a sport, and that's about 18 hours, 16 hours a week. So that's most evenings. And then I'm also posting on that, trying to keep a personal brand up. And I am trying to get involved with the clubs at UC at the university I'm at. So yeah.
So how's school going? How long have you been in? What kind of
Um,
classes are you taking? What's your schedule look like? Is it what you expected?
uh, I think it's about, they said it was going to be really hard. And I think it's less about being really hard and it's more about time management. I think if you can manage your time well and study when you wanted to study and study at a certain time each day, then you'll find more success in the course. And it's not that the topics are like super hard to get your head around. There's just a lot of them, just a lot of content. And I've been finding it okay. We had a physics test a few weeks ago, which I got 9 out of 10 on, which I was pretty happy with. And we got a math test this afternoon. So
Let's dig into what you're saying there, because both of my sons have now gone off to college, and one of the first things I did with them was to get them to do a time log. Like, hey, about every 15 minutes, write down what you're doing. And you can do it in your phone, or you can use one of the apps that helps you with that. Just basically log your time for a week and see where you're spending your time versus where you think you're spending your time. Because I think one of the biggest lessons for people going into university is if you treat it like a job, like your career, you'll be fine. Like if you work 9 to 5 every day
yeah,
and then put a little time in on the nights and weekends to study and get ready for tests and do projects and things like that, just like you would do early in your career, you'll do fine and you'll still have plenty of time to do all the other stuff you want to do. I mean, there's 168 hours in the week. If you're taking 15 hours, you're supposed to be putting at least 3 hours per hour into class. So you should be working a 45 to 60 hour week if you're taking 15 hours of classes. And if you're not, then you're probably not putting in what you ought to, and you're definitely not putting in what you would do if it was your career. So I think that was the biggest lesson for both of them. They spent a whole lot of time, like one of my sons was like, hey, I just hang out with my girlfriend a little bit. And then we found out he was hanging out with her 35 hours a week. He just thought it
yeah,
was a few minutes each day. It was a lot of minutes each day, and that was a lot of time sink. What's interesting is she now dumped him, so now he thinks he's got plenty of time to get a 4.0. So he's quite interested in how that goes forward. But for you, are you kind of finding the same thing? If you work a schedule and if you put in your time, you still have plenty of time to do all your other stuff?
yeah. I'm usually getting to uni at like 8 for my first lecture and staying till about 5 when gym starts, and that's been working pretty well. Sometimes on the weekend I do a bit, but usually my weekends are, oh well, yeah, most weekends I'm doing a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, no, understood.
Um,
Gotta get your laundry done. Gotta see all your old bros and all that kind of stuff. No, that makes sense.
I mean, like work
Um,
on the weekends, but I also find that um, I feel like I'm fully booked, and then every time I add just a little bit, or I go to an event, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to juggle it. But it always seems to like work, you know, like when I go to these events, um, there's just, how do I say it? I've always got time, you know, there's always more time, and you're like, oh, you know, before you go to the event, you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do it, but you realize that other things drop off. You become better at managing your time when you fill up your schedule even more than you think you can.
yeah, 100%. I mean, that was one of the things my oldest son noted. Like, I didn't know how much free time I had, and I didn't really know how to use it effectively. So, like, his first semester, he got destroyed. You know, he had pretty bad grades. He didn't do very well. And then we built him a time management system and showed him how to basically just work it as a job. And he's had great, amazing grades ever since. He's less stressed. He has more time to play intramurals, to have fun with his friends, to go to basketball games, to do all that kind of stuff. So I think that's pretty cool. A couple of other suggestions for you. So make sure that you are working in a lot of groups and meeting a lot of people. So try to do lunch in the cafeteria, meet people, try to do club meetings, do those kind of things. And then a huge thing for everyone in university, make sure you talk to each professor one-on-one as a person at least once a week. I highly
At least once
encourage
a
all
week.
of you. What's that?
Did you say at least once a week?
At least once a week. Like, how's it going? Ask a question about class, talk about life. Hey, what'd you think about the game? Just basically let them know that you're a human and that you understand they're a human too, and that you build some kind of rapport and relationship with them. That will come in very handy later on when, for example, you're absolutely destroyed in a class and you just need some help. Now they see you as Nico, a person, not just a name and a number on the roll, right? Does that make sense? Don't show up asking for something if you haven't ever talked to them before, right? Because then you're just somebody that's needy, that wasn't listening, that wasn't putting in their work. But if they know that Nico's been working his tail off and he's studying, but he's just having trouble grasping this one concept, then they're right there willing to help you, right? The world helps those who help themselves. So if they see you trying and working hard and that you're a pretty cool dude and you're personable and you actually care that they exist, and hey, they actually mentioned your birthday or talked about some team you know very well, then now you're a human and you have a connection, and now you guys can go. And I'll go into that a little further. So you're in university and you have to understand now that the roles have changed. So when you're in high school and below, you are doing what you're told. You're trying to make your parents happy. You're trying to make the teacher happy. When you go to university, you're the one paying for this. You're the customer. So they actually work for you. That professor actually works for you, and they need to be providing the service and the product that they're supposed to provide. So if they're not putting in the effort, or they're not working hard enough, or they're not giving you good exams, or they're not teaching you well, and you're putting in all of the effort that's needed, and you're still not getting there, then they need to help you. You have to call them out. You got to go to them. You got to ask them for more, right? Does that make sense what I'm saying? They work
Yeah.
for you now, and you have to understand that these people are there to help you further your career and get better and learn how to do these concepts. You also have to understand that they're human. So if they have a massive workload and kids at home and are trying to finish out their PhD and all those kind of things, they have a lot on their plate. So you have to understand that too, right?
Yeah.
If you see a day where you come in and the professor looks destroyed and is having trouble and is stumbling through lecture, check on him afterwards, offer to buy him some lunch, see what's going on in their life, right? They're also humans and they also need help. And then a big
Yeah.
thing for you, try out a bunch of different areas if you have opportunities. Sometimes if you have extra time, go sit in your buddy's class and see if it's something you might want to take next semester. Those are cool things to do. And then
Yeah.
wander around the different departments. You need to watch for things like career days and senior project days so that you can go by and see what's going on. Like, let's say you're in the mechanical engineering major and the mechanical engineering senior projects are going on the last few weeks of the semester. Go check them out. Go to the judging, go to the competition, see what's coming a few years from now for you, and see if it's stuff that interests you and see if you can make a connection. One of the cool things you can do as a freshman is sometimes get on those senior teams and just say, hey, I don't need any recognition. I don't need my name on it. Can I just sweep the floor, help you guys wire this up, or do you need any help putting the frame together or any of that kind of stuff? And it's a great way to meet connections. The more upperclassmen you know, the better. Sometimes they have old exams and old quizzes, or can tell you about a professor or give you cautions. I'm huge on Discord groups. I don't know if you're a gamer and you're on Discord a lot, that's a great thing for you guys to put together, is one for your department or one for your class, so you guys can talk and chat and share files and share information.
Okay.
So what's been your biggest challenge so far?
Managing the time, managing my time.
Sure.
Yeah, like you'll get an assignment and you're like, how am I supposed to do that in a week? But you end up getting to that assignment and being like, okay, I did it. Like it's hard to sometimes you look ahead in a week and you're like, how am I supposed to get there? But
Sure.
that's what's like intimidating.
Well, if you work a little bit each day and you put your time in, there's probably enough to get it done, or at least just make sure you do turn something in, even if it's terrible. Like never don't show up, if that makes sense. Like put something out there. Like for example, I was taking an exam one time and I got to the end and there was a question and I had no fucking idea how to do it. So I actually wrote that. I said, I have no fucking idea how to do this, but here's a problem I do know how to do. And I filled it all out and I ended up getting half credit for the problem just for showing them something else that I knew. So like you're never defeated. There's always a way, right?
Yeah.
There's always something. Remember, they're working for you, so show other stuff that you know. I know a professor that used to ask that as a last question on a quiz. He would say, was there anything you studied that I didn't ask you that you want to show me? And I thought that was a really cool way to do it, right? So you could kind of do that on your own. Let me give you a couple tips though. So you're starting university. One of the first things you need to do is get out all the syllabus for the classes and start to read through them with someone that has some experience. So your parents that went to uni or upperclassmen, and you want to look for the gotchas. Like for instance, my oldest son, freshman year, he told me, oh, the grading scale on this is 100 to 80 is an A. This is going to be an easy class. And I was like, no, actually, it's going to be the opposite. Because the professor knows it's going to be so hard that he's given you 20 points to get an A and you're still not going to make it, right? So some of the things that you think when you first look at it often are completely different. You want to look for, are they going to nickel and dime you with quizzes, or do I just have 2 exams and that's it, right? And the big thing you need to do is get out your calendar and put in your final exams and all your test dates and all the project due dates, all your holidays. If there's a sports team for the school and you want to go to all the games, put the games in, you know, big holidays, trips, things that you're going to want to do, put all that in your schedule and make sure it's something where you can kind of see a month, 2 month, 3 month at a time. And you want to look for the problem areas. Like, for example, when I registered for classes, one of the first things I did, they would always publish the date of the final for the class. So I made sure when I registered my classes, I didn't end up with 3 finals on one day. I made sure they were spread out.
Yeah.
You also want to look for, there'll be that 1 week right before a holiday that all the projects and all the finals are due.
Yeah.
And there's a ball game that you want to go to. And maybe the time changes, so you lose an hour. You want to look for those things before they come and prepare for them. Because if you know there's a project due and you don't have time to study for it because you have 3 other finals and there's something else you want to do, well, you go ahead and start that now. And that way it's already finished and you don't have to worry about it and you don't get caught. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not just planning out your day or your week, it's planning out the whole semester.
I've been trying to talk to third years whenever I find them on any tips they have. A lot of people struggle with finding internships to graduate from my university. I don't know if it's the same at your one. It was the same at your one, but you have to get hours, internship hours, and a lot of engineers been struggle with getting these internship hours.
Sure.
And so that's something that I've been trying to like, how do I get these hours? What can I do to, like, what did you do? What should you have done? What do you wish you had done in year one to prepare
100%.
yourself to get these? Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do.
And make sure that there's a couple of you, Nico, that are coming through. Like I've still got buddies that I went to school with that we still take care of each other and help each other out. Like there's no reason for you to do this alone. Like there'll be a couple of people that are in your major and some will wash out, some will go to other majors, some will transfer schools. That's okay. But over a period of time, there'll be a few of you that have been there the whole time, have taken a bunch of the classes together, and you just kind of form up a little team.
Yeah.
Like I had a group, it was me, another guy, and another girl, and we called ourselves the Three Wise Men. And we were so good at everything that we did that the professors used to break us up and wouldn't let us work together on projects because we would absolutely crush them. But basically, we shared info, we helped each other out. We would, if we had a really major exam, we would each take a part and then teach each other instead of we all having to spend the time for three different things. And
Yeah.
that's a big thing to do is crowdsource it. Start a Discord server, start something where you guys can start pooling information and ideas and putting stuff together to help each other out. Now, obviously, you don't want to plagiarize or cheat, but you can help and learn from each other. Because here's a key concept for you guys. You never learn anything until you teach it for the first time.
Yeah.
So it's a great technique if you're getting ready for an exam where you learn that, you learn that, and you learn that, and then we'll all teach each other and ask questions. And by the time we're done, we've all had an opportunity to learn it even better. The other is keep in mind while you're there. It's for learning how to do this stuff in a future career. So don't let anything else get in the way of that. Don't stress. Don't worry about the one question or the one test or the one project. Just did I learn the concept, right? And I think that's another major thing. I would much rather get a B and learn than get an A and not know how to do anything. So don't be afraid of the hard professor and all those kind of things. Now you might have numbers you have to hit to keep a scholarship or something like that. Make sure that all that keeps you in school. Make sure those things are satisfied. But for the most part, look at what's going to help you get to your end goal the fastest. And if your end goal is getting that degree and working in that industry or learning how to do that, be an engineer, then make sure you're taking classes, professors, and learning in that fashion. Right? You're not there to just check a box.
Yeah. It's interesting how like there's this disparity, or there's this like I find that when I talk to the engineers here, they struggle to find internships. But you were saying, I remember you were saying before I started that there's always jobs for engineers.
Tons of them. Tons of them.
Sorry?
Tons of them. Lots and lots of them. Yes.
Yeah.
And the
So
thing is, you may have to go find them because they're not published and they may not even know they need you. Like find a local company and that's doing something cool. Especially like remember I was saying go for those senior project days. Look for what companies are involved because a lot of times they sponsor a project or a class or a lab or something like that. See what schools are coming for career day and are always on campus and are always donating money. And maybe they've got a sign in the lab downstairs where they paid some money to build out a lab for you guys. And start hitting up the people that work at those companies. Make sure the recruiter knows you by name, even as a freshman, right? Because by the time you hit junior year, now they've seen you for 3 years and they're ready to hire you. You may have to go find those opportunities. Maybe you hit them up and go, hey, how do we get internship opportunities for everybody? And the other is to kind of champion one another, push each other to one of you go talk to one company, one of you go talk to the other company, and then report back to each other what you heard, right? That's a big one at the last school that I taught at is I got the kids to get together for like career days and they would all post the questions the interviewers were asking before the next guy came in for the interview. Now, initially, that sounds like a bad idea because you're giving your competition a leg up, but they were all doing it for each other because the school was more important than the individual person. So we all got to benefit from it, right? So now sometimes you get to come into an interview where you already know the questions ahead of time and you can absolutely rock it, right? So you're giving each other a chance and you're helping each other out. And that's why I say form your groups, form your teams, get together with each other. There was actually in mechanical engineering at Mississippi State University, there's a room that the alumni paid for and filled out. It's the mechanical engineering student room, and it's there just for the students, no professors. There's drinks, there's snacks, there's a place to warm up food, there's books, there's couches, there's a place to take a nap because we knew what it was like going through that, right? So we made
yeah.
sure that we left a legacy behind so that other people could come and always get together in their groups and their study groups. They always had a safe place to go in the building, right? So look, if you don't have that already in your major, help create those things. So what do you think so far? Has any engineering thing that you've learned, do you see any application in business?
We're learning thermodynamics and physics right now, and that's pretty interesting. Like thermal expansion and stuff. That's pretty cool. Like seeing,
Okay.
I like physics more than math because math is very, I feel like a robot. I feel like a calculator right now. We're doing matrices and we're doing stuff that most calculators can do. which like I guess it's important because you need to know how it works and stuff. But I find physics much more.
Okay, so that's an interesting point. So if you're having some trouble with that, go look for the classes that have that math as a prereq and go sit in that class for a minute. Go find somebody in the class and borrow their book for a minute. Because I never learned differential equations until I was sitting in my system dynamics class where we actually used them to model systems, and then it all made sense.
Yeah.
But before then, it was just impossible math. It made no sense. It was a bunch of stupid Greek symbols. I had no idea what the hell was going on. But once I saw that it was modeling a suspension system for a car and the motion of it, oh, well, that made sense. So if you're having any difficulty with something that's going on in math, start asking the upperclassmen, where do you use this in your future classes?
Yeah.
And can I come sit with you for a few minutes and just show up to class?
Yeah. It's very easy to get your head down and not do much else other than study. But
Remember, you got 168 hours a week. You don't need that many to sleep. You're already training for some of them, so that's good. You're going to eat and you're going to take care of yourself, but then you have a shit ton of extra time. And
yeah.
remember, this is for you, so take advantage. Like, if you do end up interning, work late, read every book on the guy's desk, ask for extra things to do after hours, do stuff over the weekend, borrow the software license and learn how to run the CAD software over the weekend. Those are things for you as well. You guys will probably have labs maybe already where you're starting to do some CAD or modeling or analysis. Go on and get those software student licenses and start learning the software. If you have any downtime, learn how to run SolidWorks or Solid Edge or AutoCAD or any of those kind of programs, and just watch YouTube videos and just get up to speed real fast. You'll eventually have a graphics class or something you have to take, so you'll ace that, and it gives you a leg up on getting those co-op jobs because you already know how to run the software and you can do drawings and things for other engineers.
Do you have any advice on getting those internships later in the year?
Yeah, start to reach out. Start to figure out
Link.
where has everybody else gotten their internships and when do they end, right? So if you're looking, when would you start? Would it be summer, fall? Would it be next year?
It'd be this summer, so like
This
November-ish.
summer. And you're competing with everybody else who's going to wait till the last minute. So if you get out ahead of them, you have a better shot, right? The
Yeah, I
other,
guess not.
will they let you do them remotely? Like, can you work for companies that are not in New Zealand?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I think that's a question that needs to be asked, right?
Yeah. Some are like half of them are practical and half of them are professional. And the
Sure.
professional ones are usually done later in the career because that's when you're more.
It's when you
Yeah.
actually know how to do something, right?
Yeah.
You also have to look at the company side of it. Like, why would they want you? Like, what can
Yeah.
you do to help them, right? You also should look, someone's got data on your last 5 classes of graduates from your school and where they went to work. Maybe it's the career center, maybe it's your major. Sometimes the majors will have seniors report back after they've graduated, like how much are you making, where are you at, what obstacles are you facing, and they'll report that stuff back to you guys. See if anybody's got that data, and that might give you a hint for who actually hires and gives internships. Again, go back and start looking around with you. Who sponsors the lab? Who sponsors the senior projects? Who's at career day? Who's hiring people from your school? Like Kennesaw State here, there's several companies like Vanderlande and a few others that come hire all the graduates out of mechatronics. And there's a bunch of them that work there. That's another thing you can do also, Nico. Look on LinkedIn and just look for people who graduated from your school and where they're working. Because that's an easy connection, right?
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Nico. Hey, I see you're an alum of this school. I'm going there now. Do you have any advice? Could I borrow you for 5 minutes? And on that call or that email or that LinkedIn message, ask them where they interned and could they help you find a spot, right?
Yeah.
Alumni are very good about helping each other because someone helped them before. So don't break the chain. When you graduate one day, you need to reach back and cut a check to the university and show up for judging senior projects and all that kind of stuff. All right, so what are you doing for side businesses? Because you need to be doing something.
But what? Sorry, side businesses.
Yeah, what are you
I was gonna
doing for
say
your hustle?
there's one of these. I'm not doing anything right now. which I know you're going to say, but there's this entrepreneurial startup accelerator that runs at the end of the year, and I'm thinking there's like you've got a one kind of opportunity to do it.
Sure.
You can do it one time over the 4 years, and I'm thinking, would you do it later in the 4-year degree or earlier in the 4-year degree? Because I guess if you do it earlier, you've got that knowledge for longer. But if you do it later, then you can kind of go out of uni and continue pursuing.
Okay. So we're engineers, right? So let's look at the data. Why don't you go look and talk to people that did it early versus did it late and get their advice? And the big one you want to see is who was actually successful and maybe started a company out of this incubator. And did they go in early or did they go in late? And that would be a great phone call or a message to them to ask them that question. And then also happen to ask if they know of any internships. See how those all go together? The world opens up if you make your own way.
Yeah. I've been trying to stay close to the people that I know that are like quite high achievers. Like some of these guys are like getting internships in France and doing big stuff over there, and like getting really good grades here and go to the gym.
Well, and you want to find people who are doing stuff. Like I had a buddy in school that made steel for knives. He had interned at a company, and they used to dump this real specialty steel out, and they would give him pieces of it, and then he would turn that into Damascus steel and sell knives. And so every once in a while, especially if we were having a bad week or a bad month, we would go out to his forge and beat the shit out of steel for a few hours. And it was really fun. And he ended up selling the knobs for, thousands of dollars, but we got to actually see what he was doing and beat some steel in the furnace and have a good time. So look for people doing that stuff and go try it out. I would do the entrepreneurship thing earlier, because you also have to remember, Nico, there might be a spot here where you decide not to finish your engineering degree because there's a better opportunity. So I think the more chances you could get that opportunity sooner, I think you in particular should take it. You're also going to be wiser than most to the business entrepreneur side because you've already thought that through. Whereas a lot of kids have never thought of it ever. So if they did that early in their school career, it'd be a waste of time. For you probably want it earlier because you want to see those connections and opportunities, and you want to confirm this decision you made and make sure it was the right one to make sure it's the path to get you where you're trying to get the fastest.
You think there's a potential route where I continue, like I do the incubator and then continue with it and not do engineering now?
Well, I wouldn't look at that as like an escape hatch. I would look at that as you're not going to be bound by requirements. You're going to do what's best for your long-term future, right?
Yeah.
Because you need to do something important in the world. So what's going to help you do that? And you don't know what path that is yet because you've just started on it, right? So that's why I say for you, I would do the incubator sooner rather than later. Because I think more opportunity, more connections, talking to more people is going to help you pick the right path to achieve what it is you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
We don't know what that is yet until we try it out, right?
Yeah.
My son, when he was very, very small, hated ice cream until I made him try it one day. And then he was like, yeah, this is pretty good. So get out there and try stuff and try it earlier. Remember, you have more of a business mind than most, so you're going to get a lot more out of that. You're also going to reach out to more people. So you're going to find opportunities for the rest of you guys. Like say you stumble upon an internship and it's not what you want. Well, you probably know a buddy that it fits well. Make that connection. Now you've got 2 people that count on you and that you've already provided value, and you can come back to later when you need something.
Yeah.
Connections are what matter. The other, start a little CRM or a little contact list. Like borrow a CRM. You could start in Excel, but there's a lot of little apps and things.
What's a CRM?
It's client relationship management, and it's software. It just helps you keep up with people and their contact info and who they are. Like for instance, our CRM, we do all of our opportunities and proposals in it. So I can pull up a customer and tell you, where they are, where they went to school, what opportunities we had with them, whether they've bought from us before, all that kind of information. Basically, you're just starting a database of all the people you come in contact with. And then always make sure you've got your QR code ready on your phone. And then, one final piece of advice before we go here. So while you're in school and in labs and doing things, Nico, be
Yeah.
very vigilant, or excuse me, diligent to sit down, diligent. There we go. Let's start over. All right, Nico, great piece of advice here. Very important before we go. So when you're in school, you're working in a lab or you're doing stuff, be very diligent to take notes and pictures. Okay. And here's why. At some point over the next 6 months or so, I want you to put up your own portfolio page and I want you to start filling in stuff you've done and writing out what it meant to you. Okay. The students who took my advice built a portfolio page, and when they were in lab running a ROS bot and having it complete an obstacle course, they had pictures and video, and then they wrote down what they did and what they did in the programs to get it to work, and they put that on their page. Now imagine an employer coming and looking at your page, what they think, right? Because the problem is 4 years from now, you're not going to remember anything and you're not going to have a picture. But while you're doing it, if you make a cool model or you make a cool piece of analysis or you have a cool stress plot, take a snapshot of it, write down what you were doing and what it meant to you, and put that on your portfolio page.
Portfolio page, could that be LinkedIn?
I would make a portfolio page. I would get your own name as a site.
How do
And
you
I
do
would
that?
put it,
Portfolio page.
you can figure this out. You don't know how to make a web page or a website? It'll take you like 30 seconds.
Okay, okay. But why
So
not
you could have nicolavin.com or .nz or .something, right? .co, whatever. And just put up a template page, just steal one off of Wix or borrow one from a buddy or something, and just start filling in a cool picture of you. And then those things that you list out on LinkedIn, like your jobs and your job descriptions, you'll have those same things, but you'll have a picture of it. Like, hey, I ran a ROS bot. Oh, here's a video of me doing it. Oh, we built a little bridge model and smashed it. Here's a picture of it. Here's a video of it. Here's what I learned. And what's cool is you're going to do so many cool things over the next few years that if you wait until you're a senior, you'll have forgotten about them. But if you
Yeah.
take a snapshot while you're doing it, now you've built a whole portfolio of all these thousands of things you've learned, and your resume is going to be really easy to write at the end, right? Because literally you can give someone your QR code, which has got your profile page with your contact info on it. And I know quite a few of my students that got hired as interns and now full-time engineers because they took this advice.
You don't
Rudy?
think, dude, just put that on LinkedIn?
I mean, you could, but I'd have my own portfolio page. You're an engineer and you're technical, so you should be able to do that very easily.
Okay.
And you have more control over it. That way you can't be shut down, you can't be turned off. You own it. It's yours. It's your own stuff. It's your own space. You can have your
Yeah.
own email address.
Yeah. Oh, now that I'm thinking, maybe that personal brand that I was talking about, maybe that's my entrepreneurial thing right now.
Well, and you could have a split page, right? You could have a nicolavin.com that has your gymnastics career and all the cool things you're doing, and then your engineering career and all the cool things you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you could have a little slider QR code for whoever you're talking to. Oh, we talking about influencing and gymnastics and coaching? Bang, hit me up. Oh, we're talking about engineering and internships? All right, bang, hit me up.
Yeah.
And it'll take you absolutely no time to do these updates and put up a page and do those kind of things, right? And then remember, while you're in class, if you're doing something cool, take a video of it and make a little speech or text of what it meant to you. Help get Chat GPT to put it together in something cool, and then auto post it to your site. And then if you want, you could have a LinkedIn post mentioning this cool thing you did that connects to your site.
Yeah.
And when they see you as a freshman already having all that stuff, they're going to hire you long before any of your competitors. They might actually hire you to do it for their company. Who knows? All right, you good?
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks,
make
Zane.
some A's. At some point, as you guys get further along, hit me up, get a couple of your classmates, and I'll help you mark up your resumes. I just did that the other day for another kid. We absolutely destroyed his resume on camera. So that'll be posted here soon on the YouTube channel.
Where do I find these videos? Are they? I haven't
They
seen
should
them.
start showing up on my YouTube or TikTok.
Okay.
And sometimes they post on LinkedIn as well. So I think you're already connected to me there.
Yeah.
All right. All right, young man. Say hey to your brother.
Yeah.
Take care of yourself. Get some sleep. Looks like you're doing great. Proud of you.
Thanks, Zane.
All right. See you, man. Bye.
See you around.